here's the last thing. Oh my God, I nearly forgot to give this to you. Oh, what was I thinking? Yeah. You're going to feel like, and this is part of that crazy, kooky Mandela effect type of thing, you're going to feel the following. I've lived this before. Things are about to get a whole lot weirder as we are finding ourselves now at this convergence point where all timelines are converging into one place. So I'm going to talk about what that means for you, what that's going to look like, and how to navigate through this. So stay tuned to the end because I cram a lot into these short videos. My name is Kerry K. So if you're new to my channel, welcome, subscribe, like the video, but go back. Do yourself that favor, go back and watch some past videos because I talk all about the false matrix and I talk about the transcendence of the false matrix and ascension and what it's all about. So let's talk about today's topic, the convergence point where all timelines are melting into one place. And by the way, where are they melting into? What is the one place that all timelines are pouring into right now? The answer is you. And that's why you're going to start feeling weird stuff happening. This is Mandela effect on steroids. This is kooky and crazy and weird. And one necessary skill, one vital skill is going to be called upon right now. And that is the ability to be the calm in the storm. Because think about it. Think of the convergence point. Doesn't that sound to you like the eye of the needle or the eye of the storm? It's necessary for each person right now to find their stability within, to find that anchor point into which divinity is going to start pouring. Because it might sound, and as I paint the picture of what's happening, it might sound like a very disconcerting thing, but actually it's the return of all of the abandoned selves, the lost, fragmented parts of you. As all the timelines come into one place, everything comes home. So you're going to feel at the end of the day more you. You're going to feel more whole, more complete. And it won't be a feeling. It'll be absolutely true. There's a video on my channel about timelines, timeline wars, and about there being all these abandoned timelines. And now what's taking place is all of those timelines and the selves stuck in them come home. But as they do, you're going to start confronting things that were buried and connect with aspects of you once denied and even meet parts of you never met before because they were trapped in other timelines. So on one hand, you're going to feel more whole, but on the other hand, you're going to feel more wonky because there's just so much going on. So you're going to have interesting experiences. One of them is going to be where you have memory without evidence and evidence without memory. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Remember I said kooky, weird, Mandela effect on steroids? Okay. A couple years back, so this isn't new, but a couple of years back, this is an example I'm going to give you about having evidence without memory. I woke up to a scar just over here on the top of my forehead. And, I know some of you will say, oh, maybe you just don't remember. Maybe you had a really good night out, Kerry. No, Kerry doesn't do those things. But I woke up one day with a scar on my forehead. And it's always been there, and I got no memory of it being there. And that's a silly example. You might have something else. Let me know in the comments. What do you have evidence of but no memory for? You could have fear that just suddenly arrived one day. You don't know where it came from. Suddenly you're afraid of heights, but you weren't afraid before. Suddenly you're afraid of abandonment, but you were never abandoned and have never had abandonment issues before. So this is where something arrives and you just don't know where it came from. Evidence without the memory. And what that is a you from another timeline converging into the now space. So what I'm saying to you is this has been taking place for years because ascension, we think of ascension as the solar flash, which it is. We think of ascension as that, a second, a moment. But actually, this is ascension. Ascension is everything, including the build up towards it. And all of this anomalous stuff that we're going through right now. Do you know the cosmic ones, the galactic beings are looking on at your life right now going, wow, that's so cool. They get to experience all of this stuff. And then we get ungrateful as human beings and go, oh, it's so hard. Just get me off this ship. But actually what you're going through is something that so many beings would love the opportunity to go through right now. When you find gratitude for the fact that you have a front row seat for one of the most unprecedented things to happen in cosmic history, you're going to start to feel, man, I'm blessed to be here. Man, I'm privileged to be here, because truly, genuinely, honestly, you are. But let's get back to the story. So I gave you evidence without memory. Now, what about memory without evidence? Here's an example. Let's imagine that you got a cousin and your cousin had a birthday party a couple years ago, and you recount what happened at the birthday party and somebody goes, no, I was there. It didn't happen that way. That's where you've got a memory and no evidence, right? Maybe you go, oh no, but I've got a photograph of it. Oh, where did that photograph go? I can't find it. I'll go look for it. It's kind of like as pointless as two people having an argument about the ending of Star Wars, because that's one of the Mandela effects, or there's too many to even name, many movie lines that people remember differently, slogans, logos, etc., the Mercedes logo, the name of different cereals and brands. People have got different memories, and then they argue about whose memory is right. They're both right. They're both right. There should be no argument here, because we have different timelines converging into one space. Let me tell you something so freaking miraculous, breathtakingly beautiful about this. Two things are going to occur. Number one, you're going to have things evaporate from your life, and you're going to have things come into your life. What's going to evaporate are the things that were never meant to be there. In other words, the manipulation and the lie. The lie will not be able to stand for much longer. And that which is in your life out of manipulation, coercion, which is exactly what the false matrix is founded upon, that's going to start disappearing. So, for example, karmic relationships that kept replaying lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, you're going to see that those start evaporating. And I know at this stage, people get a little bit confused and a little bit scared when I talk about people disappearing from your life. I'm saying to you, when a relationship is in your life out of love, it's going to be there out of love. When a relationship is in your life out of pain and torment and hardship and abuse and difficulty, watch. I'm not saying every relationship like that's going to evaporate, because some of them really genuinely are still teaching you something. But that which was not meant to be, and that which has been completed 10 lifetimes ago, that's going to start evaporating. Then you're going to say, but why didn't it evaporate 10 lifetimes ago? Because we were caught. We were locked into the false matrix and locked into a paradigm where we couldn't transcend past the karma. All we could do was accumulate more and more and more, keeping us in this terrible repeating cycle that we couldn't break free from. It's one of the reasons why people say to me very often, I got a pattern, I can't break out of it. I know, because we were locked into these patterns. That's no excuse for not doing the healing work, but it's hopefully going to give you insight into the nature of the false matrix where we lived. There's a movie. It's going to come to me. Hold on. There's a car. It's, oh hell, it's Back to the Future. Talk about being on the spot. So there's this movie, Back to the Future. I know you've seen it, right? There's a movie, or there's this part of the movie where main character, obviously I can't remember the name because, this is my memory. He's looking at his hand and his hand starts disappearing right in front of his eyes. Hopefully I'm quoting the right movie. If I'm not, correct me in the comments. But there's a scene and the guy's hand is evaporating right in front of his face because he altered a timeline. Now, no, I'm not saying you're going to start evaporating right in front of your own eyes, because that's just way too disconcerting for anyone to contend with. But what you're going to see is people evaporating. What you're going to see is struggles, that patterns that you couldn't break free from evaporate. And then you're going to look back at it in a year's time, 6 months' time, and you're going to go, oh, why was that ever a big deal to me? Why did I ever pay attention to that? Obviously, that wasn't a part of who I am. An addiction even can be the same thing. People say to me, like, I didn't try to stop smoking, for example. Just one day I didn't smoke. That's an example of stuff evaporating when it's in your life and it wasn't meant to be. But then equally, think about this one, baby. Think about this one. Stuff's going to come into your life that was always meant to be but was blocked. Abundance is going to come into your life that was always meant for you but was blocked. Love is going to come into your life that was always meant for you but you couldn't reach, access, step into, move towards. Because when we get these big moments in our life of breakthrough, these big moments in our life of expansion, which could be in the meeting of a soulmate, in the letting go of an old pattern, we have these big bursts of energy come in and expansion happens and we become more, we grow and evolve. All of that was inhibited and prevented in the false matrix, stopped, blocked. So now the block isn't there anymore. Do you feel? Do you get what that means for you? Right? So things are going to start coming into your life. I want to give you a really good idea of how to navigate this. Stability is one. Okay, so I've got a meditation series on my website called the Stability Series. It's a trilogy meditation series. It's in the discounts and special offer section of my website. And there's 3 meditations in there, and they're just so good at bringing you into stability, bringing you into that anchoredness, the groundedness, the centeredness. If you've done a meditation, which I've recommended many times before, called the Deep Relaxation Trilogy, also same place on my website. If you go there, back to those meditations, the deep relaxation meditations, go do them again, especially number 3, which is the soul, the connection to the soul. Go do it again. You're going to be blown away. Do you know why? Especially if you've done it before, there's more you. There's more you now. And you're going to go, but I've done this meditation before, maybe 10 times before. It didn't feel this way. Why does it feel so big? Why do I feel so big now? Because all timelines are converging into one space. As this happens, I did say earlier, things are going to come up. You're going to feel a little bit exposed, which is normal, right? Because the suppressed stuff is not able to be suppressed anymore. That's a blessing, not a curse. Welcome it with gratitude, even if it feels like, this is the worst thing that can happen. It's the best thing that can happen. If there was nothing in place to facilitate that surfacing of all the suppressed stuff, you would be in a harrowing position, because ascension then could not happen. The fact that you have no control over the stuff just coming up to the surface is your greatest blessing in this life. But here's an example. It's human nature. Let's just say that I'm writing with a pen. Let's just imagine my pen is really not a great pen, as most of the pens on my desk really are not great pens. They're pretty much half filled with ink, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. And, I obviously don't pay too much attention to my stationery, so that's okay. But let's just say that I'm busy writing with my pen and I'm in the middle of writing something and somebody grabs my pen away from me. What am I going to do? Because I'm a human being. I'm going to grab the pen back. I'm going to fight for that pen back. That's my pen, right? But if I just take a moment and I go, actually, I needed a better pen anyway. Actually, what am I holding on for? Actually, why was that important? Is it just familiar? Do I think I need it? Was it keeping me in the middle of something I didn't actually need to be in? So what you're going to find is that life's going to take things away from you. That's part of that evaporating, right? Things evaporating out of your life. Don't hold on. Don't hold on. Let go. And if something feels like it's being stripped away, taken away, don't do that clutching thing. Don't do the control thing. Because actually, and again, this is more good news. That's not going to sound good, but it is. You're going to try to control life, but honestly, you can't right now. It's always been true. It's always been true. But the illusion was there. You always had the illusion that you could control things. You're not even going to have the illusion now. You will not be able to control the release of things from your life right now. Why? Because your soul is in charge. Here's the last thing. Oh my God, I nearly forgot to give this to you. Oh, what was I thinking? Oh my goodness me. Okay. Yeah. You're going to feel like, and this is part of that crazy kooky Mandela effect type of thing, you're going to feel the following. I've lived this before. I've been through, almost like you're living life, but you know what happens next, or you feel like you've done this already because, as all timelines converge into the now, all time converges into the now. And so what's going to happen is you're going to start accessing past, future, present as one energy field, which it is. That, by the way, is exactly what happens when we escape the false matrix, when we transcend. That's the correct word. When we transcend the false matrix, we are no longer prisoners of time. Time is no longer going to be as sequential as we remember it being. Yes, we'll still have time, so time won't go away, but we won't be prisoners of time. The false matrix is also called the time matrix for a reason, because in the false matrix, time had us imprisoned, and it's one of the reasons why we couldn't evolve. We couldn't get past time. As all timelines converge into one, you're going to start being able to step into the memory of the future as easily as you can tap into the memory of the past. So now memories of future become accessible to you, which is going to lead you to this sense of, but I've done this before. This has already happened. This is not new. Or you're going to even think, and it's a little bit disconcerting, you're going to think, but I'm sure that somehow I'm backwards or in the past. No, it's only because you're accessing the future as if it's in the now, and then you bring those two into contrast with each other. The mind is used to putting things in sequence, so you're going to go, oh, wait, I'm in the past. No, you're not in the past. You're everywhere now. You're in the past and the present and the future, and there's a higher place. There is a higher place beyond past, present, future. It's called the now. I know people in my online community, you already knew the answer, because the now is where you go when you transcend the false matrix. All times, past, present, future, exist in the false matrix. But the now, which is timeless, is where you go when you exit the false matrix and enter the divine organic matrix. This is such a thrilling journey, and I'm so glad that you're walking beside me. From my heart all the way into yours. Mwah. Let me put a video up here for you. I'm going to put the video on collapse of the astral and the underworld. I feel like that is an important video, because the follow on to that, which is heaven collapsing into where we are right now, into the false matrix, that has already taken place. So go watch those two videos, collapse of the astral and underworld, and then the collapse of the higher realms. Lots of love, everyone. Speak to you really soon. Bye-bye for now.